Parthaya pratibodhitam bhagavata narayanena swayam vyasena grathitam purana munina madhye mahabharatam Advaitaamritavarshiniim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Amba Tvam Anusandadhami Bhagavad Gita Bhavadveshinim Vasudeva Sutan Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Mukam Karoti Vachalam Bhangum Langhayate Girim Yat Madhavam Om Atha Dashamodhyayaha Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Bhuya eva mahabaho Shrinu me paramam vachaha Yatte ham priyamanaya Vakshyami hitakamyaya Name vidussuragana prabhavam namaharshayah Ahamadir hidevanam maharshinam cha sarvashah Vyomamajam cha vetti lokamaheshwaram Asambodha samartyeshu sarva papai pramuchyate Buddhir jnanam asammoha kshama satyam damah shamaha Sukham dukkham bhavo bhavo bhayam cha bhayamevacha Ahimsa samata tushtis tapodanam yasho yashaha Bhavanti bhava bhutanam matta eva pridhak vidaha Maharshaya sapta purve chatvaro manavastatha Madbhava manasa jata yesham loka imah prajaha Etam vibhutim yogam cha mama yo vetti tattvataha So vikampena yogena yujyate natra samshayaha Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate Iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhavamasamandvitaha Matchitta madgata prana bodhayantah parasparam Kathayantascha mam nityam tushyanti charamanti cha Tesham satatayuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mamupayanti te So tonight we'll continue with the Gita, and we are to begin on the 10th chapter. I think that's a little too loud, Jitenji. A little too loud, no? Turn it down a little bit. If it gets too loud, it hurts the ears. So tonight, again, chapter 10. Chapter 9 was the chapter on the sovereign knowledge and the sovereign secret. And chapter 10 is Vibhuti Yoga, Nama Dashamodhyaya, the 10th chapter named the chapter on divine manifestations. Vibhuti means manifestation, it means glory, it means power, etc. And so the divine manifestations or the divine glories here, the Vibhutis. And it brings up a theme that was mentioned in chapter 7 and in chapter 9. In chapter 7, there was a passage which started with Rasoham apsu kaunteya, O son of Kunti, I am taste in the midst of the waters, or in the waters I am the essence of water, which is taste. That takes us back to the idea of the five Mahabhutas, the five basic elements of creation, where each element pertains to a sense field. So light, the essence of sight, there's one element according to this analysis, the Hindu analysis, which again is based on experience. It's not ancient superstition because people didn't have the advantages of modern science. It was an experiential based analysis. That the essence of sight, all the different things that we see, there's the element of sight itself. That is, all that we see is light. All that we hear is sound. All that we smell is smell. There are many different smells, but the essence of smell is the element of smell. And so each one of these is associated with one of the elements, and the element of water is associated with the sense of taste. All the tastes that we have are variations of the element of taste, and that is known as water. And so when Sri Krishna says, Rasoham apsu kaunteya, among in the waters, the essence which is taste. He's pointing to one of his vibhutis, one of his manifestations. And then in the 9th chapter, he says, Aham kratur aham yajna. I am the kratu sacrifice type of class of sacrifices in the Vedas, and I am the yajna class of sacrifices in the Vedas. So, and then he goes on, in each chapter he elaborates on some other manifestations of his. So in this chapter, chapter 10, it's known as the Vibhuti Yoga because he elaborates on the qualities which are his. But in the beginning of the chapter, for a number of verses into the chapter, he really is summarizing the thought of the earlier chapters. Again, remember that according to Madhusudana, the commentator, the first 6 chapters deal with who am I? The next 6 chapters, what is that? That is, what is the divine being? And then the last 6 chapters on Asi, the equivalence between the two. And so as we saw in chapter 7, that it turned from an analysis of the self, speaking again and again about the Atman, about the Purusha. Then Sri Krishna comes to his own nature, speaking about his own nature. So this continues that. And the first several verses sort of summarize what he's said already. And then he comes to the Vibhutis. So as I'll say again, when we come to the Vibhutis, we won't get to them tonight. But when we come to them in the chapter, as I'll say then again, these are meant for meditation. They're meant to be meditated upon. And so the idea is that he is the essence of everything. He's the highest of everything. He's the best of everything. He's the meaning of everything. And so when we go through these vibhutis, these various manifestations, that's the idea. That why is he the taste in water? That means the essence of water is taste, or the essence of the element of water, not water as in a lake or in the pipe, but the essence of the element water is taste. So he means that he's the essence of that, and he's the essence of all things. If you go into anything, the deepest essence of it, you find that divine being. And when he says aksharanam akarosmi, I am the among all of the letters. That's the most generalized of all of the sounds that we make. And so he is being itself, the most generalized of all general qualities. When he says that I am Aditya among the luminaries, me Aditya the sun. So I am Aditya the sun among all of the luminaries. It means I am the best, the brightest of all of the luminaries, because God is the highest, the greatest, the most glorious of all. And so all of these vibhutis are meant for meditation. But again, we start with verse 1, where he is beginning sort of the summary of what has gone before. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Bhuya eva mahabaho shrinu me paramam vachaha yatte hambri yamanaya vakshyami hita kamyaya. So Bhuya eva mahabaho shrinu. Hear, O Mahabaho, the mighty armed one, again calling Arjuna by various epithets, and here pointing to his heroism as a warrior, the mighty armed Arjuna. So Bhuya Eva Shrinu, hear once again, O Arjuna, Me Paramam Vachaha, my supreme word, my highest teaching. So here again, that itself shows that again he's summarizing what he has said before. So yatte ham priyamanaya vakshyami hitakamyaya aham yatte priyamanaya, that which I will tell to you who are dear to me, priyamanaya, you who are dear to me, hitakamyaya, wishing you your welfare. Yatte ham priyamanaya vakshyami, I will tell, future tense, I will tell you who are dear to me, priyamanaya, hitakamyaya, for your welfare. Or priyamanaya, actually it may more exact meaning rather than dear who are dear to me, you who are delighting. Priyamana is a participle, you who are delighting in my words. So you, O Arjuna, who have been delighting in hearing this word, because again, remember that Arjuna was collapsed on the battlefield, dropping his bow and collapsing into the chariot, giving up all hope. So then Sri Krishna began teaching him from the 11th verse of the second chapter. And so now Arjuna is getting back, is delighting in the words of Sri Krishna, who is bringing life back to him. Life, knowledge, understanding, and enthusiasm, utsaha, all of that he's bringing to Arjuna. So you who are delighting in my words, I will tell this, hitakamyaya, with a desire for your welfare. Desiring your welfare. So again, I will tell you things that I have told you before. So verse 2 says, Name vidu suragana prabhavam namaharshayah ahamadir hibhudevanam maharshinam cha sarvashah. So this says, Name vidu suraganaha. Suraganaha na me prabhavam na vidu, na maharshayah vidu. So that means that all of the gods, Suragana, all of the gods, Name vidu prabhavam, me prabhavam na vidu. They don't know my beginning. The gods themselves don't know my beginning, na maharshaya, nor the rishis, the great rishis, the maharshis. They also don't know my beginning. The gods don't know my beginning, nor do the sages know my beginning. So if we know something, what does it mean to know something? That means for the mind to encompass it, the mind to enclose something. If I know something, I have some mastery over it. My mind has comprehended it. And comprehended it means what? It means that it has surrounded it. My mind has encapsulated it. So to know something means that. But Sri Krishna is saying that I, Sri Krishna, am before all of the gods and all of the maharshis. So how can they encapsulate me? When they come into existence, I am. I already am. I never have not been. So how can they encapsulate me? How can they comprehend me? How can they get their mind around me when they come into existence? I am from eternity. I never was not. So how can they possibly comprehend me? What to speak of the fact that I, Sri Krishna, am beyond all concepts, beyond all mentality, beyond all mentation. It's impossible to comprehend me. So all of the gods cannot comprehend me, nor can the great rishis, the maharshis. Aham adir hi devanam. And so here he gives the explanation, which I just gave in advance. That aham adir hi devanam. I am before all of the gods, or I am the beginning of all of the gods. I am the source of all of the gods. I am before all of the gods. Maharshi nam cha sarvashaha, and of all of the maharshis. I am before the gods. I'm before the rishis. Sarvashaha, in all manners, in all respects. I am before all of them. And so how can they comprehend me? It's impossible for them to comprehend me. So again, remember that this is continuing that teaching of Sri Krishna in the second group of 6 chapters, 7 through 12, talking about the nature of the divine being. So Sri Krishna is saying that I can't be comprehended. I can't be known. And then verse 3 says, Yo mam ajamanaring cha vetti lokamaheshwaram asammurha samartyeshu sarva papai pramuchyate. Yo mam ajam anaring cha vetti. Mam lokamaheshwaram ajam anarim chavetti. So who knows me, the one yo mam vetti, the one who knows me as ajam, unborn, anarim cha, without beginning. So unborn and without beginning. So for us, birth is our beginning, at least in this lifetime. Birth is our beginning, but God doesn't even have a birth. But maybe he doesn't have a birth, but just appeared. But no, he doesn't even have a beginning. So he's not only unborn, but he has no beginning. So again, remember that it's Sri Krishna who is speaking. So Arjuna is who's listening to him, wrapped in wonder at the words of Sri Krishna. He knows Sri Krishna. He knows Sri Krishna's origins, his parents, his foster parents, where he grew up. All of these things he knows. He knows much about Sri Krishna, and yet Sri Krishna is saying that I am unborn. So again, for Arjuna, that would be very confusing for Sri Krishna to say that I'm unborn. I have no beginning. So here and many places in the Gita, we have to remember, because here it's quite clear, and then we have to extrapolate from this to other parts of the Gita, that Sri Krishna is speaking of himself as the divine being. Because as Sri Krishna, the incarnation, yes, he had a birth. He was born in Mathura. He was born in the jail of Kamsa, and then taken to Vraja, to Vrindavan, where he grew up as the foster child child of Yashoda. So all of that is true of the physical manifestation, the incarnation of Sri Krishna, but he's not talking about that. He's saying that because he knows who he is, he knows that that is all just play, that's just appearance. I am that divine being, and I've never departed from that. I am that and that alone. And so I have no birth. So again, when he says in the Gita things like everyone following different paths is really coming to me, he's not speaking about Sri Krishna in the blue form. Yes, that's included, but not limited to that, because he's speaking of himself from the standpoint of being the infinite being, the divine being, the source of the incarnation of God, all of the incarnations of God. So that's why the Gita cannot be interpreted, though some people do, it cannot be interpreted legitimately as a sectarian scripture, that Sri Krishna means that the only way you get to God is by worshiping Sri Krishna, because Krishna alone is God, and that, so people who worship other gods, they're actually worshiping Sri Krishna, but ignorantly, and so they are lost. One has to come to Sri Krishna and worship him, the blue form of Sri Krishna. Then alone can one truly worship. No, the Gita in so many ways negates the idea that it's a sectarian scripture, that this is it is only through Sri Krishna that one comes to God. Here he shows it clearly, because I have no birth. If I have no beginning, again, Sri Krishna saying that, not me, I have no birth, I have no beginning, then he's not speaking of himself as the one who was born in the jail of Kamsa, who was brought up by Nanda, Yashoda. He was the son of Vasudeva. He was the divine being itself. And so that doesn't negate the incarnation of Sri Krishna. It means that that incarnation of Sri Krishna is a manifestation of Sri Krishna's true being, which is universal, which is that which is manifested in all of the avatars. So Yomam Jamadnaring cha Vetti Loka Maheshwaram. So he who knows me as unborn, without beginning, Anadi, and Loka Maheshwara, and as the Lord of the world, Loka Maheshwara, and the Lord of the worlds, because Loka Maheshwara is a samasa, it's a compound word, and so Loka would here be interpreted as plural, lokas, the Lord of the worlds, not just this world, but of all worlds, all planes of existence. I am the Maheshwara. I am the great Lord of all of the worlds. So one who knows me as that, the great Lord of all of the worlds, as unborn and without beginning, then what? Asammudha samatyeshu. He is undiluted among all mortals. Martyeshu, those who are subject to mrityu, subject to death. So martyeshu, mortal, those who are subject to mrityu, death. So among mortals, he is the one who is undiluted. The rest of us are deluded, who don't know that, who don't know the secret of being itself, that the divine being, the divine reality is unborn, beginningless, and the Lord of all of the worlds. Sarva papaihi pramuchyate, and he is freed from all sin. He is freed from all evil, freed from all sins. On a tangent here, as you know, Swami Vivekananda said when he came to the West in various ways, on various occasions, including in his addresses at the Parliament of Religions, that Vedanta refuses to call you sinners, that Vedanta doesn't believe in sin. And yet anyone who is a Hindu knows that there's the idea of punya and papa. Punya, merit, and papa, sin. So what did Swami Vivekananda mean when he said that according to Vedanta there is no sin? What he means is that there's no sin in the sense that Western religions, or not just Western religions, but the Abrahamic religions, the way that they interpret sin, especially Christianity, because in Judaism also the idea is somewhat different, in Islam somewhat different. But the idea which was dominant in the West and is dominant in the West of sin is that when you do something wrong, you are sinning against God. You are insulting God. You are doing something that is hateful to God. God gave his 10 commandments to Moses in what Christians call the Old Testament, the Torah of the Jews, gave his 10 commandments and said, I want my people to abide by these 10 laws. And so if you go against those, then you are sinning against God himself. So the idea of morality is that immorality is insulting God, is angering God, because you're going against the rules that he had given to us. So in Hinduism, there's no such idea that God has given us laws of morality that we're to follow, and if we break them, we're breaking God's law, and God is therefore angry because we have sinned against him. So it was that idea that Swamiji wanted to demolish. Everybody recognizes, including Swami Vivekananda, of course, such a brilliant man. Of course he knew that people do bad things, people do immoral things, people do harmful things. And so in that sense, yes, of course, Vedanta believes that people can do very destructive things, very harmful things, things which are immoral. But the Vedantic idea is that each of us is divine by nature, and that sin doesn't touch our fundamental being. Yes, it clouds the mind, and therefore we shouldn't do it. It clouds the mind. It strengthens delusion, but that's why we should do it, not because we're going against the law of God. We're doing something that God doesn't want us to do. It's because it's furthering our delusion and making us more miserable. And we're hurting ourselves. When we hurt another person, the greatest harm comes to ourselves, not to the other person. The greatest harm comes to ourselves. And so, therefore, we should be moral, because that's the only way to clarify the mind so that we can begin to rise, so that the glory of the inner self begins to manifest. And so in that sense, there is no sin in Vedanta. First of all, the idea that sin has tainted your fundamental nature, that the glory of the image of God within you has been tainted by sin, that Vedanta doesn't believe. But the traditional idea in Christianity is that sin has tainted your fundamental being, and therefore anything that you do is tainted by sin. And so you can never overcome it by yourself, because you're already sinful. Everything that you do is therefore sinful. And so there's no way out of it. The only way out of it is by God incarnating as Jesus and then sacrificing himself on the cross for the sake of others, so that he's paying for our sin. But he pays for the sin only of those who accept him as the Savior. If you accept Jesus as the Savior, nobody else, but only Jesus. If you accept Jesus as the Savior, then Jesus has paid the price for you, and you are saved. You're still a sinner, but you're a saved sinner. So Vedanta doesn't accept that at all. Vedanta has no problem accepting Jesus as a real incarnation of God, a true incarnation of God, but feels that the whole doctrine of original sin, that has been a misinterpretation of Jesus's message. And Jesus himself never taught original sin, has never mentioned in his words the idea of original sin. And so Vedanta doesn't teach any sin in that sense. It teaches that, yes, you do wrong things, but why do you do them? It's not because you are bad by nature. You can never be bad by nature. The nature of everyone is pure and perfect. As Swamiji said, even the murderer who is being hung, Swamiji used that image, even the murderer who is being hung in this country, he was speaking in America at a time when most executions were by hanging, the murderer who is being hung in this country is perfect God. But the murderer doesn't know it. And therefore, thinking that I can solve my problems by killing someone, that is the faulty understanding that comes out of ignorance. And so that Vedanta teaches ignorance, not sin. That the problem is ignorance. All things that we call so-called sins are the results of ignorance. Thinking that by robbing somebody, I'm going to be happy. Thinking that by killing somebody, I'm going to get somebody out of my way who's preventing my happiness. Those are all forms of ignorance. And yet, that ignorance doesn't affect our true nature. It only clouds the perception of it. Clouds the perception of it. Just as clouds can't cover the sun, but they can keep us from seeing the sun. The sun is always in its own glory, just as the self of every human being and every sentient being is divine. So he who knows me, the birthless, the beginningless, and the great Lord of all the worlds, he, the undiluted one among mortals, becomes completely free from all sins. That is, becomes completely free of the bad karma, completely free of the effects of karma. So then in verse 4 and 5 are taken together. It's all one long sentence. So we'll chant 4 and 5 together, and then we'll go over them together also. Buddhir jnanam asammoha kshama satyam dama shamaha sukham dukkham bhavo bhavo bhayam cha bhayam eva cha ahimsa samata tushtis tapodanam yasho yashaha bhavanti bhava bhutanam matta eva prithag vidhaha. So here he lists a number of qualities, and what he's saying is that all of these qualities that he's listed, matta eva, pritag vidaha, all of these various different qualities, they are all matta eva. They come from me itself. Bhavanti matta eva. They come from me. They are from me itself. So. Buddhi, intelligence, that comes from me. Intelligence comes from me, says Sri Krishna. Jnanam, knowledge, understanding. So buddhi, the intelligence, jnanam, knowledge, that also comes from me. Asammoha, non-delusion, the absence of delusion, that also comes from me. So for me comes knowledge, intelligence, the absence of delusion. Kshama, forgiveness. Forgiveness also, as the English saying has it, forgiveness is divine. That I am forgiveness. And satyam, I am truth. So satyam comes from the word sat. And sat, of course, means existence. So satyam, it means that which has existence, that which is existing, that which has being. And so truth is based on the word sat because truthfulness, satyam, means that you hold to that which is. Not to fantasies, not to made-up things, not to made-up stories that you tell people. To lie is to make up a fantasy and to pass it off as truth. Just to tell a fantasy as a fantasy, that's what books do and movies do. There's no problem with that. But to pass off a fantasy as a fact, that's what to lie is. And to be truthful means to stick with what is. To stick with the truth means to stick with what is. Damaha. Dhamma is control of the external organs, because next comes shamaha, which is control of the internal organs. So the two are related in Vedantic thought and in Hindu thought in general. And the relationship is this. Dhamma means the control of the external organs. It means to have a sense. One has Dhamma, one has control of the external organs when one has a sense of being centered, has a sense of being centered within the self, within one's self, and not flailing about and looking this way and looking that way and listening to this and listening to that and smelling this and smelling that, and the senses running in all sorts of directions trying to experience everything. Yes, if there's something to see, look at it, but look at it in a dignified way. If there's something to hear, then yes, calmly listen to it. If there's something that, an odor that you need to smell, then smell it, but under a sense of control, under a sense of self-control. But what normally happens with the ordinary person who has not practiced self-control is that the senses are being drawn out in all directions by the objects themselves. It's not under control, but the objects themselves are making us dance. There's a beautiful line in the puja, in the manasa puja, the mental puja, where you offer everything, every part of yourself, everything, every element of your experience, you offer it to God. And towards the end of the manasa puja, you offer the dance of my mind and sense organs. That is, the mind and sense organs. Yes, if I can't control them, at least let me offer it as dance for the entertainment of God. Let me offer my mind and my sense organs. This is the only dance that I know. This is a dance that I offer to you. So please accept this. Let this also be your worship. So again, Dhamma is learning to dance better, learning to dance properly, learning to dance with some sense of control, not just flailing about and the eyes looking here and looking there and so forth. And no, having control over the organs. And Shama, control over the inner organs. That is, the control over the mind and control over the impulse to go out through the senses. So that is learning to control the mind, so that the mind is satisfied within itself. So all of these qualities are matta eva, are from me alone. Intelligence, wisdom, the absence of delusion, forgiveness, truth, control of the external senses, tranquility of the mind, sukham dukkham, happiness and misery. So now, so far, everything he said are positive, things that we want to attain. He says, I'm all these glorious things like intelligence, wisdom, absence of delusion. Who doesn't want to have these things? Self-control, mental tranquility, all of these things. These are wonderful things. So I am all of these things. So I think, yeah, we're going in a good place. And then he says, I am sukham, and I am dukkham. I'm happiness and I'm also misery. I'm also misery. So we'll see in a moment where that takes us, that we begin to apply that to other things he's already mentioned. Swami Vivekananda said when he was going through a period of absorption in the Divine Mother, and he said, mother is the organ and mother is the pain in the organ. When suffering from sickness or injury or something, that mother is the organ and mother is the pain in the organ. And mother is the one who is experiencing the pain as well. So then the Divine Mother is everything. She's the experiencer. When I think I'm experiencing pain, no, it's the Divine Mother who's experiencing pain. I think it's my pain, no, it's the Divine Mother. Everything is her. So sukham and dukkham, happiness and misery, come from me alone, Sri Krishna. Bhavo. This is interpreted two ways, and according to the interpretation, the writing is different. One way is bhavo, which is in Madhusudana's commentary. But within the commentary, he gives the other possibility also, which some others take as the what is meant here. So if you take it as bhavo or bhavaha, then it means I am the birth and I am the existence of all beings. In Vedanta, there's the idea, and it's not just in Vedanta, in some other schools of Hindu thought, maybe all of the schools of Hindu thought probably. It's thought that there are 6 vikaras, 6 changes of a living being. There's birth, and then there's existence. You're born, you first have to be born before you can be. So there's birth, and then there's existence, and then there's growth, etc. Growth, old age, death, etc. So bhavaha in this interpretation would mean birth, and bhavaha would mean existence. So that also is from me. Birth is from me. Birth of all living beings is from me. I who am ajam, unborn, but the birth of living beings is from me. And bhavaha, existence of living beings, is from me. The other way to interpret these 2 words is bhavo and then avagraha bhavo, which means bhavo abhavo, bhavaha abhavaha. So then bhavaha still means birth, and abhavaha means non-existence, which means death. So birth and death are from me. I personally like that interpretation more. And again, Madhusudana gives both, but he gives priority to the first one, birth and existence. But in Sanskrit, of course, the is lupta. The of abhava would be elided when you have bhavo in front of it. So bhavo abhavaha. So I am the birth and the disappearance or the death of all beings. That also is from me. Birth and death both are from me. Bhayam cha bhayameva cha. I am fear and I am also fearlessness. I am fear and also fearlessness. So when we feel fear, that is from the divine being. Fearlessness is from the divine being as well. And so when we see now he's come to positive and negative qualities, and he'll go on with those in the next verse. But we see from this that we should apply those to other statements also, where I am asambudha. I am the absence of delusion. Or from me, rather. Out of me comes the absence of delusion, but out of me comes delusion as well. In the Chandi, Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu, not Moha, Moharupena. I forget which. Anyway, it's something that's a synonym of moha. If it's not moha, it seems like it's something else. But who appears as delusion in all beings. So she's beauty. She's power. She's all of these positive things. But she's also moha. She's also delusion. The Divine Mother. So Sri Krishna is saying the same thing here. So knowledge and the absence of knowledge, intelligence and the absence of intelligence, all has come out of me. So the positive and dhamma and shama, as well as the lack of control, that also is from me, because everything has come out of me, the positive and the negative. Where else could it come from? As Swami Vivekananda explains, there's no other solution. The solution of some religions that the good things come from God and the bad things come from the devil, or the bad things come because of the fall of Adam in the Garden of Eden, the fall of Adam and Eve. No, that doesn't explain it, because still God is responsible. If you have 2 gods, the good God and the bad God, how do you work that? Because you find within everything there's some good and there's some bad. So is the good God doing a little bit here and the bad God doing a little bit there in every single thing that happens? No, that makes no sense. It's philosophically untenable. And the idea that God did everything good, but then humanity messed it up. Well, that's also God's responsibility. He created Adam and Eve. He put them in the garden, and he gave them a temptation right in the middle of the garden. Right in the middle of the garden, he put a temptation. And then where did the serpent come from? That also had to come out of God. If God has created everything, heaven and earth and everything within it, God created the serpent. Where did the idea of the serpent to tempt Eve come from? That also came from God. So Vedanta accepts that from the beginning, that everything is out of God. Once even the great Swami Turiyananda, in the middle over on that wall, Swami Turiyananda was saying, this must have happened in Varanasi, where he and Swami Adbhutananda, Latu Maharaj, were. And so the Turiyananji was saying that God is all good. And then Latu Maharaj, Bhutananji, the unlettered, literally unlettered. Sri Ramakrishna, we could say that Sri Ramakrishna was illiterate. No, he knew how to read and write. He just didn't do either one. But he knew how. But Latu Maharaj didn't even know how. He didn't even know the alphabet. Not even the spoken alphabet, what to speak of the written alphabet. So he was completely illiterate. But so Turiyananji said that God is all good. And Latu Maharaj said, what do you say, brother? What do you mean God is all good? And then Hari Maharaj, Swami Turiyananji said, well, of course, what else is God if God is not all good? And then Latu Maharaj said, well, then where did the Kaiser come from? This was the time of World War I. Where did the Kaiser come from, who was fighting against the British and French, etc.? So then Turiyananji had to admit defeat. That yes, everything comes out of God. The great saints come out of God, and Hitlers and Stalins, they come out of God as well. Everything comes out of God. So sukham dukkham bhavo bhavo bhayam cha bhayam eva cha. Fear and also fearlessness, they come from me. Ahimsa, non-violence comes from me as well. But that means what? It means also himsa comes out of me as well. Non-violence comes from me, and violence also comes out of me. Samatha, that is same-sightedness or equanimity. Samatha, equanimity, being equal in all circumstances. Tushti, satisfaction, the quality of being satisfied. That is a divine quality. But it means asantushti also is out of the divine being. Tapodhanam yasho yashaha. Tapas, austerity, spiritual practice, that comes out of me. Dhanam, charity, that comes out of me as well. Yashaha, fame comes out of me. And ayasha, ignominy, the infamy, that comes from me also. Fame comes from me, and infamy comes from me. That is a bad name. Good name comes from me, bad name also comes from me. And so again, that we have to apply to all of these. Ahimsa, dana, kshama, all of these. Bhavanti bhava bhutanam matta eva prithag vidaha. So bhava bhutanam bhava bhavanti. These qualities, these states of living beings are from me alone in their wide diversity. So different states of living beings spring from me alone, as he translates it here elegantly. So intelligence, wisdom, absence of delusion, forgiveness, truth, control of the external organs, tranquility of the internal organ, happiness, sorrow, birth, existence, fear and fearlessness, etc., as are well known. Non-injury, equanimity, satisfaction, austerity, charity, fame, infamy. These different states of the living being spring from me alone. So all of these things come from me alone. What do we do with that? When studying a scripture like the Gita, and particularly the Gita, which is a very practical scripture. It's meant for our daily life. It's meant for our understanding and guidance in daily life. So what are we to do with verses like this? Then we're to understand that everything that happens to me, everything that comes to me in my life, everything is from the divine being. Everything is a manifestation of the divine being. And so let me try to see the divine in the midst of all circumstances. And try not to. These, of course, are difficult things. But by trying, that's what practice is. Abhyasa means trying. And so that's all we have to do. If we're to practice, we try. That's all we're required to do. Try not to complain about my circumstances, but to recognize that all of this is out of the divine being itself. Whatever happens, whatever comes my way, that also is from the divine being. So let me deal with it as such. That doesn't mean that okay, let me try to be infamous. Let me try to have more fear of things because that's also Sri Krishna. So let me be afraid of everything. No, it doesn't mean that. But to recognize that if we can recognize everything as coming from the divine being, then nothing has a hold over us. Nothing has a hold over us. So it doesn't mean that we'll suddenly become subject to all of the negative things in life. No, it means that we'll surpass even the positive things. We'll go above even the positive things. And the negative things will no longer have the power to torment us and to frighten us, because we realize that no, everything is divine. So yes, if we're in pain that nobody wants, and if there's a medical way to get over pain, then yes, certainly we do it. But sometimes there's pain that we can't get over. There's pain that we suffer in spite of medicine and surgery and other efforts to overcome the pain. And so then we have to bear it. We have no choice. If we can't get over it, we have to bear it. And so we can just bear it. Okay, just a moment, and I'll get your question. No, we have to bear it. And then, but there's something else we can do. We can try to accept the pain. Sometimes that's impossible because the mind and the nerves become tired, and there's only so much they can take of pain. But as long as we can, and we gradually increase our capacity, we, instead of trying to push the pain away, which is our natural response when something in the body is hurting, we try to push it away. So again, I'm talking about pain that we can't get a medical fix for. We try to push it away, where we get tight, we get anxious about it. No, relax and just comprehend it, just absorb it, just accept it, and accept it just as sensation. Again, after some time, the mind can no longer do that. The mind becomes tired of the effort it takes to do that. But as long as we can do that, then we get relief from it. And then we get the encouragement that let me try it more. Let me increase my capacity just to see it as just another sensation and to accept it just as sensation. Yes, Swapna. Oh, yes, we want to get this on the, so that people listening to the recording or to the live streaming can hear the question. Otherwise, the answer makes no sense.
The question is, Maharaj, that it will also make us very neglectful of our actions, in the sense that, let's say, I say something bad to somebody, and then I think, oh, okay, I mean, it's okay, it's coming from God. God is making me do it. Or, I don't have to take care of it, because I don't take care of when I'm very happy. I don't go out of my way to make myself sad. So when I do something wrong, it's God is making me do it. So He will take care of it.
Yes, no, that's the natural thought that this is what's going to happen if we take this idea up, that everything has come out of God. But no, that's not actually what happens. If we can, because what happens there, that's obviously the reason you ask about it, is it's obviously that's hypocrisy. That I'm well, everything is from God, so it doesn't matter if I do bad things and say bad things and hurt people and all of that. It doesn't matter. It's that God will take care of it. Everything is out of God. Yes, it's possible to be a hypocrite. Certainly, we see hypocrisy all of the time. And so it's possible to use these ideas for hypocrisy. But the sign that it is being practiced hypocritically is that we think that when we're doing something bad. And when we're doing something good, we don't even think about God coming into the picture. We are quick to take credit for it. And so if we really are thinking that everything comes out of God, then that idea comes to us in good moments as well as bad. And we don't make choices. We're not using that as a means to escape feeling guilty for things. No. So yes, we always have to be on the guard for hypocrisy, because it's so easily comes into our life. But that's the sign that it's being used hypocritically, or being used as a real practice, an attitude for practice. So all of these things spring from me alone. Let's do one more verse, and then if there are any more questions, I'll take those. Verse 6 says, Maharshaya sapta purve chatvaro manavastatha madbhava manasa jata yesham loka ima prajaha. So Maharshaya Sapta, this verse also, the first 2 feet of this verse have been interpreted 2 different ways by commentators. And Madhusudana, again, who gives a very complete commentary usually on most of the verses, he gives both of the interpretations. One way of interpreting it is Maharshaya Sapta Purve. In the earlier, the 7 primordial sages, the Marichi and other of the 7 sages, of whom Swami Vivekananda was said by Sri Ramakrishna to have been one. So the 7 earlier sages, Chatvaro Manavastatha, as well as the 4 Manus. Manavas, the Manus, the 4 Manus. Now, there are more than 4 Manus. I think there are 14 Manus that are listed in the scriptures, but there were 4 who were the Savarna Manus. So there's a class of a group of the Manus that are 4 in number, which are the recent Manus, and those are the Savarna Manus. And so the line interpreted that way is, from myself were born the ancient 7 great sages, as also the 4 Manus. But the other way to interpret it is that Maharshaya Sapta, the 7 great sages, the 7 rishis, and Purve means the 4 who were before that. The Chatvaro Purve, the 4 sages who were before, because you remember Brahma first had 4 sons. But they were so wise that they refused to procreate and to carry on creation. And so then Brahma realized, well, I'm not going to have much of a creation if I create 4 sages and they remain in meditation, and that's the end of it. So then he created 7 more sages. So the first Sanandana, Sanat Kumara, etc. For the 4. So this interpretation is the 7 sages, the 4 sages before that, and then the Manus. All of the 14 or however many they are now, exactly the number that's given in the scriptures, not just this group of 4 select Manus. Madbhava Manasa Jata. These were born from Ima Prajaha, from whom all of these Ima Prajaha, all of these creatures have sprung. So out of me have come the sages, the 7 sages, as well as the 4 sages before that, all of the Manus, and then from that, all of these, from them, all of these creatures have come. And so I am the source of all. So from myself were born the ancient 7 great sages, as also the 4 before that. I'll take that interpretation, which I prefer, as well as all of the Manus, who had their thoughts fixed on me, Madbhava. Madbhava, their thoughts, bhava, were fixed on me, Madbhava, who had their thoughts fixed on me, who were born from my mind, Manasajata. They were born from my mind. As you remember, Sri Ramakrishna said that Rakal, Swami Brahmananda, was his Manasa Putra, his mind-born son, a son born from his own mind, who had their thoughts fixed on me, who were born from my mind, and of whom are these creatures in the world. Yesham, of whom, loka ima prajaha. From whom all these beings in the world are produced. So again, everything here has come out of the divine being, out of Sri Krishna, out of the divinity which Sri Krishna is. So again, this is summarizing, as I said at the beginning, summarizing the thought of the earlier chapters from 7 through 9. The nature of the divine being, that everything has come out of me. So now let me see if there are any questions. Okay, 2 here, Sanchali and then Jayanta. And then if there's another one also, but right now, 2, Sanchali.
Maharaj, I'm Googling, and according to the Vedas, they're saying 504,000 Manus manifested during the lifetime of one Brahma. So 5,040 Manus in 1 year of Brahma, and 420 Manus in 1 month of Brahma.
Ah, yes. And that's where a day of Brahma is a whole cycle of the universe when it collapses into itself. So we're talking, yes. So somewhere also there's a list of how many Manus are in 14 Manus. You got that also?
Yes. You want to know who they are?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, 14 different Manus. Swayambhu, Svarochisha, Uttama, Tapasa, Raivata, Chakshusha, Vaivasvata, Savarni, Daksha Savarni, Brahma Savarni, Dharma Savarni, Rudra Savarni, Deva Savarni.
Ah, yes. Oh, okay, so those are the...
Very complicated.
Very complicated, yes. So there are different lists of Manus, and each Manu rules for a long time, a long age, but it's a short time in the life of Brahma. So, okay, I see Jayanta, yes.
Maharaj, going back to slok 4, when it says Sattam.
Yes.
Now, Sattam, suppose two individuals are looking into the same thing, they can have totally different perception of the facts, right?
Yes.
So what is Satta then?
So there's not, if they have two legitimate perceptions of the facts, but the perceptions are different, then it's not a question of lying versus truth. They're actually seeing two different versions. Now there may be, through investigation, you find that there was only one which was right, but it was appearing in another way to the other person. Or sometimes it's because they're looking at different things within the same thing, seeing different aspects of the same thing. But neither one would be called a lie. The truth would be what actually is, but what actually is could be
Totally different.
it could be totally different, or it could be that both of them are seeing an aspect of truth. As Swami Vivekananda said, if we're standing on different sides of the building and looking at the same building, then we see it differently. If we've never seen the whole building, but we just know a side of it, like the story of the elephant, that the blind man touches the trunk, another the side of the elephant, etc. So what they're seeing is true. It's just a partial truth. And so truth is that which is, but sometimes that which is not so easy to determine. And so being unfaithful to the truth is a matter of will. That is, telling something which is untrue, though you know that it's not right. And so the others we don't have to worry about. That through scientific investigation or ordinary investigation, we can figure it out. So like Sri Ramakrishna, he told, he used to tell about the, not the homopaki, but what was the other bird? The, what's the bird who only takes water? Chatak bird. So Sri Ramakrishna believed that there actually was a chatak bird. I don't believe that there's a chatak bird. That stretches my faith too much. But Sri Ramakrishna, once Naren came running to Sri Ramakrishna and said, I just saw a chatak out there and it was drinking ordinary water. And Sri Ramakrishna said, what? You show me. So then Naren took him and showed him, and Thakur said, Shala, you rascal, that's not a chatak, that's a sparrow or something else. So Sri Ramakrishna was afraid that he'd been telling an untruth by saying that the chatak drank only when the Swati was ascended. And so I find it hard to believe that there is a chatak who only drinks water when the star Swati is ascendant. But there Sri Ramakrishna wanted to be truthful so much that he didn't want to tell that story as a truth if it were not true. So that's why he ran out to find out if he was wrong. So Naren couldn't convince him because it was the wrong bird. But there it's not a question of Sri Ramakrishna. If it's found, as I think it will be on investigation, that the chatak takes water at other times too, that doesn't make Sri Ramakrishna a liar. because Sri Ramakrishna was telling what he had heard to be true. And so to lie is a matter of the will. So anyway, that's that. Okay, now enough time has gone over, so I won't ask for another question now if there are any. So let me give a closing chant, and then we'll have the announcement. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. That infinite reality is full, perfect, and complete. This universe is full, perfect, and complete. From out of the fullness of that infinite being, the fullness of this universe has come. And yet that being remains ever the same. Om, peace, peace, peace be unto us all. So for announcements, on Thursday we'll have the usual